Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Deepak Chopra, and it's a great honor and privilege to be with you once again and share with you where we are today in the future of well being and technology. But before I start, I just want to say that this last 1 year has been very interesting for all of us, I'm sure. And as we look across the human landscape, across the globe, what we have witnessed is what can only be called grief uh, all across the human landscape. So, as a physician, I've witnessed grief many times. Sometimes within a short period, a patient goes through all the stages of grief when they are diagnosed with a terminal illness or acute heart attack or something like that. At first, they feel victimized, then they're angry, there's some hostility, frustration, helplessness, and panic. And unfortunately, a lot of people I've seen die in that mode, panic and helplessness. Once in a while, you find what is called acceptance. Acceptance applies to what is currently happening. That's it. Doesn't mean and doesn't have anything to do with the past, what happened, what went wrong, doesn't have anything to do with the future, has to do with what are the facts right now. So the facts right now are that we have a pandemic. It has probably reached its peak, probably now plateauing and then slowly diminishing in its intensity. Those are the facts. But there's something else. Unless we accept what is, there's no meaning. There's no creativity. There's no solution. So right now, I ask everyone to actually derive some meaning from what has happened this 1 year. A lot of people have died. There's a lot of suffering in the world. We've noticed a lot of hostility, ideological conflict, and yet there are people out there in the creative world, including yourselves, entrepreneurs who are actually taking time to reset their lives, to re examine their lives, to reinvent their lives. Some are taking time to reinvent their bodies, and some, like me, are reflecting on the deeper significance of reality. And many entrepreneurs across the board are actually creating new technologies for communication, for convergence of technologies, for food production, for new energies, for transportation, for creation of materials. There's a revolution going on of entrepreneurship and technology and creativity and innovation. So, with that, let me share with you the next slide. This is a recent issue of the New Scientist magazine. And as you can see, the title is very intriguing, Your Thinking Body. In 1988, I proposed this idea and was vilified for it, that the body is a network of intelligence. A body is the network of self-regulating feedback loops. The body is a network of energy. The body is a network of information. And the body ultimately is a product of consciousness experienced perceptually as an intermittent stream of sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, and sensations. Once we recognize this, we have a clue on how to optimize well being in our bodies. So, the next slide will show you what I call the 7 pillars of well being. And before I even talk about those 7 pillars of well being, it's important to tell you that in the last decade or so, or last 15 years, scientists, biologists, geneticists have discovered that less than 5% of disease, chronic disease, less than 5% of chronic disease is caused by gene mutations that are fully penetrant. As I may have mentioned before, we are now in a phase of technology where soon there'll be gene editing. There already is for some diseases, but I can guarantee you that in less than a decade, we'll be able to read the barcode of a gene just like you read an email, snip off the defective gene, insert the healthy gene. So, on the face of it, that's a miracle, and certainly is. Right now, that technology is being used for is it still will only affect 5% of chronic illness. The reason I mention it is it still will only affect 5% of chronic illness. The rest of the gene mutations that cause disease, doesn't matter what that disease is, heart disease, cancer, inflammatory disorders, autoimmune disease, predisposition to infections, premature aging, all of that, even the gene mutations that cause those conditions are influenced by what we call lifestyle. And these are the most important pillars of lifestyle that can prevent, predict, and actually very accurately, precisely uh, predict what's going to happen to a person on an individual basis. If we know the biometrics for these seven pillars of well being. So, what I'm saying is 95% of chronic illness, and probably more, is preventable. The advice for it can be very precise and targeted and personal. It's predictable, it requires your participation, and being a process of optimizing self regulation and healing and well being and homeostasis through these seven pillars. That said, let me say a little bit about each of these. So, sleep, we need, to be totally honest, we all need 8 hours of sleep, irrespective of our age. Babies and children need more because during sleep, growth hormone is stimulated. But we all need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, of which at least 30% should be a combination of REM sleep, which is dream sleep, and deep sleep. In deep sleep, physical toxins are flushed out, including amyloid, which builds up, causing Alzheimer's disease in a significant amount of proportion of the population. But during deep sleep, all the inflammatory products are flushed out, toxins are flushed out, and during REM sleep, which occurs in the early hours of the morning, physical toxins and emotional toxicity is released. So, this is when the body, which in many wisdom traditions is called the subtle body, mind, intellect, ego, also releases its stresses. When people are deprived of deep sleep or REM sleep, they might even get hallucinations. Inflammatory disorders predisposes to metabolic syndrome, diabetes, on and on. So, sleep is very important for self regulation of hormones, immune system, and much more. It also accesses memory, solidifies memory, enhances creativity, intuition, insight, and is a window also to our spiritual nature. So, pillar number one. Pillar number two is stress management and meditation. Of course, there are many ways to manage stress, including entertainment. Some people love humor, singing, music, poetry, dancing, going out in nature. But the most reliable way to manage your stress measurably is through various meditation techniques, which include mindfulness, include transcendence, include mantra meditation, include mindful awareness of mental space, of emotions, of the web of relationship and our connection to the ecosystem. And right now, there's a lot of evidence how this changes gene expression and also changes inflammation in the body and induces self regulation. Add to that the third pillar of movement, walking at least 10,000 steps a day, and some mind body practice like yoga or pranayama. And when you combine meditation, stress management, movement, yoga, and pranayama, something very interesting happens to our biological system. So, normally, our biology, our autonomic nervous system is regulated by two aspects of the autonomic nervous system. Right now, the world is on sympathetic overdrive, which means immunocompromised, inflamed. And personally, of course, that leads to immense physiological and biological distress. But on a collective level. That's also all the ideological conflict we're seeing coming out of stress, feeling threatened, feeling fearful, but also expanded modes of dysfunction like war, like terrorism, like eco destruction, like poison in the food chain, like cyber hacking, all sympathetic overdrive. So, when we stimulate the vagus nerve through these practices, and even by the way, singing and chanting and deep breathing and vocalization and socialization all stimulate the vagus nerve, which influences facial expressions, tone of voice, heart rate variability, heart rate itself, breathing patterns, and the vagus also influences self regulation in the visceral organs of the body, both the solid organs, kidney, liver, spleen, and also the hollow organs like the stomach and intestine. And this nerve, therefore, is a very important healing nerve that has been ignored by physiologists for a long time. Now, getting a lot of attention. The people are even doing vagal implants for treatment of diseases like asthma and many other conditions, arthritis, and so on, even epilepsy. But we can stimulate the vagus nerve through these processes. The fourth pillar here, which you might see, is emotional resilience, so joy and equanimity. They return to homeostasis. People who are feeling frustrated have hostility, anger, fear, guilt, shame, um, hostility. All of that, of course, increases inflammation. So, emotional resilience. Empathy means feeling what another person feels, compassion, the desire to alleviate suffering, and then some kind of action to follow, what I call love in action. Because love without action is irrelevant, obviously, and action without love is meaningless. But today we know that 99% of the genetic information in your body is actually in your gut. It's called the microbiome. And when we change our diet, you can change that genetic information in your body within a couple of weeks. In other words, you can reset your entire bioregulation by changing the gene population of your microbiome if you follow a diet that has maximum diversity of plant based foods. And if it contains meat, poultry, fish, it comes directly from a farm and not through a factory. If the food is not manufactured, refined, processed, contains antibiotics, inflammatory products, steroids, hormones, then you can change 99% of the genetic information in the body and upgrade the remaining 1% through these lifestyle measures, which is something we didn't know before. So, this is a great advance. And today there are artificial intelligence techniques to immediately look at microbiome activity, gene expression, and then change it with certain interventions, which is amazing. This was not part of our science when I went to medical school and during my entire residency and fellowship. The sixth thing I mention here is biological rhythms. So we have four rhythms in our body: circadian rhythms. If somebody has jet lag, then that's a disruption of circadian rhythms. But there are other cosmic rhythms that are connected to circadian rhythms, including seasonal rhythms. Some people get depressed in winter because lack of dysfunction of melatonin and other hormones in the body, and mood and hypertension and inflammation and anxiety and disease are all linked to a disruption of biological rhythms. Now, of course, we live in the United States where everyone has found a technology for something. So, right now, I'm sitting on a grounding mat on my chair and I'm connected to the earth. And if you go on the internet, you'll find lots of grounding devices. Needless to say, restoration of circadian rhythms and other rhythms, seasonal rhythms, gravitational rhythms, lunar rhythms, which are all intertwined, is what I would call a biology with least entropy, almost perfect self regulation. about 2 years ago, the Nobel Prize went in medicine and biology went to the discovery of biological clocks, which operate at every level, anatomical, physiological, molecular, ultrastructural, even quantum mechanical. The last pillar here is self awareness, which is a mode of basically accessing your inner intelligence at its most fundamental levels. The inner intelligence that goes beyond rational intelligence accesses intuition, insight, creativity, higher vision, extraordinary imagination, and ultimately transcendence. So these are the seven pillars of well being for physical, emotional, mental, and ultimately seven spiritual well being. And the next slide extends this to what we call total well being. Career well being, are you happy at your job? Do you complement other people's strengths? Do they complement your strengths? Is there shared vision in the leadership? And are people emotionally and spiritually bonded? And if you exercise some of these principles, you will see that career well being is very important for your physical well being. 80% of people in the American workforce today are disengaged or actively disengaged in their work. So they are unhappy and they're physically distressed as well. So financial well-being occurs when you spend your money on experiences, when you actually are secure about having paid your taxes, automated payments, you have default mechanisms for savings, and you don't have to think too much about money. You let the experts take care of your savings. Finally, community well-being, which means how safe are you in your community, how involved are you. In Eastern wisdom traditions, we say a community is well off if it is oriented towards seva, which is service, sangha, which is community, and simran, which is some kind of spiritual practice. I can now show you that this is the data to prove everything I've said. Gene expression changes within 6 days of meditative practices, mindfulness, deep breathing, exercise itself. All the genes that are responsible for self regulation go up, some 17-fold. All the genes that are responsible for inflammation and disease go down significantly. And if you see the next slide, you'll see that the level of the enzyme telomerase, which regulates our biological clock, also goes up very significantly, suggesting that these practices slow down and even for some time reverse biological aging. Next slide, please. So, with that, I just want to let you know that we are in the process right now of developing algorithms and biofeedback mechanisms and bioregulation that look at everything from dreams to digestive functions to the experience of a joyful, energetic body to hormone levels, breathing, and eye movements. In fact, I'm now working with Fitbit to develop my biometrics in real time with real time interventions. You will see that these algorithms in the future will involve what Sumant has been talking to me about, quantum computing. We'll be able to see the relationship between different feedback loops non-locally and how they are regulated, and then create real-time interventions by looking at eye movements, facial expressions, tone of voice, and correlate that with everything that's happening in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally. This is a revolution that is coming in the making, and I can guarantee you that in the next 5 years, we will have technologies which are more precise, more predictable, more preventable, and very accurate in predicting interventions in real time as well. I had more slides to show you regarding spiritual intelligence, but I think we'll stop here because spiritual intelligence is a bigger topic. How do we transcend the limitations of the body mind and access the core consciousness within us, which is a field of all possibilities at all times without limitation, field of synchronicity, evolution, harnessing the power of attention and intention from this deeper domain of awareness allows us to harness synchronicity, creativity, higher intelligence, and reinvent our body and resurrect our soul. So I'll stop here. I think I have exceeded my time, but if you have 3 minutes, we'll do a very short meditation. So wherever you are, sit comfortably, keep your feet firmly planted on the ground, keep your hands open like this on your thighs, close your eyes, and just observe your breath for a moment. And as you observe the breath, you'll see just observing the breath slows it down. The breath mirrors the movement of mind. So if your mind is turbulent, anxious, um, what is my deepest desire? What do I want? Again, don't try to answer it. See what comes up as a sensation, image, feeling, or thought. That's a clue. What is my deepest desire? Third question. What is my calling? What is my purpose? How do I make a difference in the world? Ask the question, let it go. Being alert to any sensation, image, feeling, or thought that comes to you. Final question, what am I grateful for? Gratitude will open the door to opportunities and also decrease inflammation in your body. What am I grateful for? Allowing any sensation, image, feeling, or thought to spontaneously come to you. And now, having done these reflections, just repeat your full name to yourself. I'm Kelly Mello. I'm Catherine Kaleha. I'm Shannon Irani. I'm Deepak Chopra. This name has a biography. So now take away your last name, repeat only your first name. I'm Deepak, I'm Sumant, I'm Kelly, Catherine. This time, bring into your awareness joyful memories, childhood, play, celebration, laughter. Feel your body. And finally, let go of your name. Just repeat I am to yourself with no name, no form, nothing attached to it. I am mentally. And now you can switch to a mantra, aham, which is the existence sound. Aham, I am. Mentally. As your mind gets distracted, come back to aham. Finally, let go of mantra. It's pure awareness. Awareness of awareness. Fundamental truth. Without awareness, there's no experience. Awareness modifies itself as everything that we call reality, thoughts, feelings, emotions, perceptions. So now rest, just rest in the stillness of your own being. Let's do this for at least a full minute right now. Resting in stillness. And as we come close to finishing the minute, alert, restful mind, quiet mind, and lightness of being. Lightness of being, joy. If you want now, you can slowly take a stretch, a yawn, take a few seconds. And please open your eyes.